Okay, let's see how this goes. We are taking a look at this bad boy right here. It's called the Braodwin. It is in downtown Columbus. We're taking a look at this as a major rehab project and value add project. Let me see here. Here we go. This is the Broadwin. Come on, hurry the hell up. Lots of pictures here. It's This is downtown. You can see it back here. They've put like new windows in it, and a couple people have taken swings at like making it happen. But it's really just been sitting vacant and in various stages of disrepair, but still in good condition. It was built in 1924. It was an old boutique hotel. There is a parking garage and a parking structure on the property. So it's really begging to be brought back to glory as a hotel. I'm not sure that's honestly like the best use for it. I've caught short-term rental or hotel rental worked into it, but it would definitely be an awesome like boutique hotel if you wanted to come in and specifically do that. I think it would do really well. I've got an interesting unit mix that I use to underwrite it, but of course, it's for whatever whoever wants to do it. So, a lot of this old stuff unfortunately is not salvageable, but man, would it be cool to go in and try and keep a lot of it. But yeah, so totally needs gutted. These are the flyers to give you an idea of kind of what we're looking at. There's two elevators, they got the floor layouts and everything in here. And the reason I like this property is one, it's got a historical aspect to it. Two, like this picture says, it's really begging to be made into like a trendy rooftop bar or a cocktail space or a coffee shop. This is also on the go to work side of town. Like downtown is over here. So you're heading into downtown. This is on the right. If we could work a way to do like a drive through and it'd be right in, right out at a lighted intersection, that'd be super convenient for a coffee shop. So, I underwrote this as basically going in redeveloping as first floor is retail. One floor is long-term rental, two floors is hotel or short-term rental, and one floor is penthouses. And then rooftop, it could be a bar, maybe in addition to the penthouses, or a pool, maybe, or something like that. I took a complete guess at what it would take to do that kind of renovation. I really have no idea. But I'm going to pull up kind of the numbers I did, and we'll take a look at it. So on the purchase side, they're asking 3 million. It's been on the market a long time. There's really no reason to pay 3 million at this point, but in case they're sticking to that, 3 million. Okay. I have no concept of what that takes. So I went with 43 units are in the building currently. We're going to change the unit mix a little bit, right? So it's not really going to be 43 units, but we'll take that into consideration just for budgetary reasons. And I said, let's spend 200K a unit. So that gets us essentially to double and being at 6 million in rehab costs. So we're at a total in cost of $9 million up front. The way this calculator works is that 6 million is like acquisition costs. So that goes into this initial investment number over here, but it doesn't really go into the cash flow number down here. So when we talk about that, we'll look at it. But we're really with the debt just talking about the 3 million. So this gets us to the point of like stabilization, and then we'd refinance out for the higher acquisition. Or the higher valuation. I was just using this to see, like how does this even start to shake out? So it's very preliminary from there. But what we used is 7% interest. I used a 70% LTV or 2,100 loan. We need a $900,000 down payment, 191 grand in debt service a year, and 21 grand in loan costs. So then when I did the rental income, I did long-term units on the first one floor of long-term units. By my calculations, with 43 units and 5 floors of above ground space, that equated to about 5 units per floor. Or I'm sorry, 8.6 units per floor in the 5 floors. So I did 8 units per floor to kind of do a round number. That should get me square footage wise easily to a 2 bed, 2 bath, if not a little bit nicer. And that should be 1,800 in that neighborhood if it's a nice unit. That's actually a pretty decent price for that area. And so that's what we base that off of. Short-term rental, we based off of $150 a night at 30 at $3,100 a month, being 30% occupancy. Um, Retail gym, coffee shop, retail space on the first floor. We're doing $27 a square foot, which is pretty much market average for retail space. Triple net, there's 38,000. I'm sorry, there's one unit. It's 17,000 square feet for the whole ground floor, for the whole floor. And so when we multiply that 17,000 by 27, we get the annual rent of $463,000, and then monthly rent is $38,000. And then penthouses, we got two of them. They're 8,500 square feet a piece, basically. And so we thought a little over $1 a square foot was pretty fair. So we have $9,500 a month to rent a penthouse. Whether that comes out and you end up selling those, or maybe you condo some of these, there's a lot of things you could do. But just to get into this, it looks like annually you're going to be bringing in a top line revenue potentially of essentially 1.45 million annually. I have expenses in here of 255 grand. Again, very rough. I put some guesses in here for taxes and things like that. But ultimately around 25-30% is fair, I think, for expenses and things. Debt service, we've again only got on that 3 million. It's not on that 6 million rehab costs. But it's essentially a 40 cap on your purchase cap rate. So what ends up happening is we end up with an NOI essentially of 1.2 million a year. Okay. So if we've got an NOI of 1,203,168, and if this building trades at a 6 cap afterwards, you're looking at a $20 million building. Frankly, that seems too good to be true to me. So I think, obviously there's something wrong, but this tells us that it checks out enough to be worth digging into. And it's going to take, I think, a little bit more than just like rehabbing the 43 units. I really think this is going to take like a branding, and for it to be like, oh, like the Braodwin. Like people know the Braodwin now, but they know it as like a disheveled building. So you got to bring it back to glory, kind of have a brand, and have that draw from the coffee shop and a boutique gym and maybe a nice bar, and get back to those like old world New York days and city days of like having a building that's kind of self-sustaining and has everything you need in it, and is beautiful and kind of old world. And I think people are looking for that kind of style now and that kind of life. So if we can keep the old and kind of bring it into the modern age, I think it's a hell of a project. I don't know if it ends up at 20 million, but even if it ends up, some of the way there, and it does take that 6, 8, even 10 million, you're in a pretty substantial equity position here, I think. So that's why I think it's an interesting property. So if you'd like to talk more about it, obviously this is all conceptual. It would all need shaken out and made into like real numbers and things like that. I have no idea what it actually cost to fix a building like this, but I don't know, 6 million seems like a hell of a budget, but what the hell do I know? So that's it for now. Thanks so much for checking it out. Let me know if you have questions. Love to talk it through with you more, or any other deal at all. So I'm going to send you this in the PDF, a link to this video and all that kind of thing. So I will catch you on the flip side.